Hi, I'm Frank Shrosky reporting for TorqueNews.com. It's Tuesday, just a few days before Father's Day. There's going to be a show here on the grounds of the Edsel and Eleanor Ford, the mansion Eric grounds here in Grosse Pointe. And I'm inside an 8-car garage. I've never been inside this building before. It's really kind of cool. It is a media day specific to EyesOn Design. I spoke with a few gentlemen and I asked what is the purpose of this event, and they said they're trying to do this similar to what they've done with Concours d'Elegance, but basically not so much raise the bar, but raise the awareness of EyesOn Design. So this is about design. This is not necessarily about performance. It's about design and the beauty and art of cars and the design entire process of cars. I've been following this for some time. Having worked in the design studio over at General Motors, I have always loved that environment. It's something I wanted to do when I was a kid. I never really made it into design except from the engineering aspect. But I did get involved with it, and I really did love the entire process. And coming to a show like this, you get to see how things were done years ago. Now we do things by computer. Well, then they would go ahead and trace things out on a drafting board, make a template, and basically carve clay, and that's how they would do the style and the design. So I'm having a great time here. My first time at one of these media events. Special thanks to my co-writer and partner Patrick Rawl, who also writes for TorqueNews. We just spoke on the phone. He's still trying to find a place. He'll be here. Maybe I can get him to come on the video so you get to see him. I'm going to take a break now and basically take some shots of the area and of the cars inside of this building, and we'll go from there. So, talk to you in a little bit. Frank Shrosky reporting for TorqueNews. Here we are at inside the garage for the media event, and I'm in here by myself, which is kind of cool. So I get to have a little private time here with the vehicles. This is a 1934 Brewster Town Car. The enhancements were done by Edsel Ford himself. Edsel Ford requested that the custom 34 Brewster be fitted with a Ford V8 grille rather than the standard heart-shaped grille. He felt that the clean and grille enhanced the beauty of this one-of-a-kind car. Very important to note that there's a sign up here, and I'm going to show this in a second, that the trust that his father, Henry, had in his son, Edsel. And there it is written. It says right here, "We've got a good man in my son. He knows how a car ought to look." Quote by Henry Ford. So a good testament of a father to a son. And here we go from concept to car. This is how cars were done years ago. You see a clay model. Of course, that's a really small model, but generally they're full size. From concept to car, Ford Motor Company was founded in 1903. From 1908 to 1927, the Model T was the only car the company produced. The Model T's success stemmed from Henry Ford's brilliant attention to engineering, production. Less emphasis was placed on style. Few automobile companies had in-house design studios at the time. Those who wanted stylish cars hired coach builders to create custom bodies for their chassis. A few pioneer auto executives, including Edsel Ford, understood that better styling would sell more cars. So that's pretty much what he did. In 1935, after years of lobbying, Edsel convinced his father to establish the first formal design department within Ford Motor Company. Interesting fact. We're going to wicker picnic basket, circa 1930. There is a picture of Josephine, Henry, and Benson posed with 3 family cars. By the way, for the record, my wife, Judy, was the private duty nurse for Mrs. Josephine Ford, of whom the Center for Cancer, I believe, at the Henry Ford Hospital was named after. Judy was her last personal care nurse. Something that she's very proud of, by the way. She really liked the woman. They had a lot of respect for her. And we're looking at another vehicle here. This is called, by the way, this is called the Gate Lodge Garage. It included a turntable built onto the floor which allowed staff to pivot cars in order to park them efficiently. A hose descending from a water tank above the ceiling allowed the staff to wash the cars inside. A gasoline pump was located nearby to top off the tank. Guests of the Fords were often treated to a car wash and a fill-up. And what we're looking at right here is a 1935 Lincoln LeBaron two-door coupe. There's a display of Edsel Ford. It says Edsel Ford celebrated the idea that beauty can be designed into everyday items in a 1939 radio address, making the 10th anniversary of the Museum of Modern Art in New York. There's some of the play items that the children used to enjoy on these grounds. Remember my wife hearing stories about that from Mrs. Ford when she took care of her in her final days there. And here we have, this is basically the birth of the Lincoln Continental, considered the most beautiful car in the world at the time. Kind of reminds you of the Godfather a little bit, doesn't it? E.T. Gregory was a confident, talented designer who loved boats and fashion. He worked briefly for Brewster and Company and General Motors before being hired by Lincoln Motor Company in 1930. He and Edsel quickly forged a unique historic relationship that led to the design of one of America's most beautiful cars. Later in life, Gregory commented, "My hands became Edsel's tools in the developing designs. I was able to put on paper and into clay the designs he was visualizing in his head." So a lot of these designs basically came from Edsel. Here's how things were done in the old days. There it was, the old drafting table. Much bigger than that, but things really started. There's the body lines. See if I can get in here and get a closer look. The view of the body lines. Now the car 0 point is really out in front of the vehicle, and at that time I believe that the 0 point was the cowl, the firewall. That's how things were in those days, back in my father's day as well. This is Frank Shirosky for TorqueNews.com reporting from the grounds of the Henry Ford, not the museum, but the mansion grounds here in Grosse Pointe area. Report back in a bit.